Welcome back. Today, we have a rather intriguing topic to delve into, the primary allegations against the National Testing Agency, or NTA, by various candidates, coaching centers, and educators. Before we jump into the details, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for the latest updates. The NTA is a significant player in the field of conducting competitive exams in India, but recent times have seen a surge in criticism and complaints from different quarters. Today, we'll explore these allegations to better understand the concerns raised. Many have expressed dissatisfaction with the examination process, citing issues with question paper quality, technical glitches during online exams, and allegations of unfair evaluation. Some coaching centers have voiced concerns about the NTA's testing methodologies and the impact on their students. According to them, the exams are becoming too challenging and there is a flaw in the way questions are framed. Educators are on the front lines, guiding and mentoring students. Some educators have raised questions about the relevance and fairness of NTA exams, suggesting that they might not be aligning with the current educational landscape. It's essential to have a balanced discussion, considering both sides of the story. NTAs have responded to these allegations to address the concerns raised. To understand their response, one needs to be clear of two things. First one is to understand about what is the difference between percentage and percentile. And second is to understand about the normalization process. So to explain this in layman language about percentage and percentile, imagine you and your friends just finished a really tough exam, like the G-Mains. Now, the marks you get in the exam tell you how many questions you answered correctly. And this can be expressed in terms of percentage. But there's this thing called percentile, and it's a bit different. Let's say you got 80 out of 100 marks in the G-Mains. That's pretty good, right? But here's the twist, the percentile is not about the actual marks you got. It's about how well you did compared to everyone else who took the exam. Yes, let me repeat this. It's about how well you did compared to everyone else who took the exam. So, let's say there were 1,000 students who took the G-Mains, and you got 80 marks. If your percentile is 90, it means you did better than 90% of those 1,000 students. It's like being in a race. If you finish a race in 5 minutes, that's your time, like your marks in the exam. But the percentile is like saying you finished the race faster than 90% of the other runners. In the G-Mains, percentile helps to rank students based on their performance relative to others. Even if two students got the same marks, their percentiles could be different because it depends on how others performed in the exam. So, the key takeaway is that marks tell you how many questions you got right, but percentile tells you how well you did compared to everyone else. It's like saying, I didn't just do well, I did better than most of the other students. To understand about the normalization process, let's imagine the G-Main exam as a big adventure race with different tracks. But the tracks are different, and some are easier, while others are a bit tricky. Now, think of the students as superheroes navigating these tracks. Each superhero is trying their best, but it's not fair to compare them directly because the tracks are different. This is where the normalization of marks comes in. It's like the exam organizers putting on their superhero capes to make things fair. Let's say you and your friend took the G-Main exam. You got 90 out of 100 on a somewhat tricky track, and your friend got 85 out of 100 on an easier track. On the surface, it might seem like you did better, right? But the normalization process swoops in to save the day. It takes into account the difficulty of the tracks and makes sure everyone is judged fairly. So, even though you tackled a trickier track, your raw score might get adjusted a bit higher, and your friend's score might get adjusted a bit lower. This way, the normalization process makes sure that the final scores reflect how well each superhero did, considering the challenges of their specific tracks. It's like saying, hey, we understand some tracks were tougher, so we're going to make sure everyone gets a fair shot. This way, students are not just compared based on their raw scores, but on how well they performed compared to others on similar tracks. It's like making sure everyone has an equal chance to shine in the superhero adventure, no matter how tricky their track was. Now talking about the current issue, the primary allegations against the NTA stated that the majority of candidates had been assigned to appear on the first two dates of the exam, that is January 27th and 29th. This means that those appearing for the exams would be at a disadvantage because of the intensified competition. The more the number of candidates in an exam shift, the less a candidate's percentile is likely to be for the same exam marks. As per this data, analysis shows that each shift comprised around 9.9% to 10.3% of total registered candidates, maintaining consistency and dispelling claims. This data goes to debunk the candidate distribution allegations being leveled against the NTA. NTA clarified that the exam shifts were randomly allotted to ensure equal distribution by gender and category. NTA also explained that while percentile scores were relative to each shift's performance, the normalization of marks ensured fairness in the G main exam, considering variations in difficulty levels across the different shifts. The percentile data also disclosed that the disadvantaged shifts on January 27th and 29th gave a total of 14 candidates with 100 percentile marks, whereas the remaining 6 shifts gave a total of 9 candidates with a 100 percentile score. Source of this information is as given by NTA in various news channels. We had this discussion at home when kids were really worried about the injustice and pressure of the examination. The aim of this conversation is to foster a dialogue for positive change. Embracing the education system may not always be easy, but it empowers us to shape our future. In every lesson, we discover the keys to unlock our potential, making the journey of learning an essential and rewarding path. Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's continue the conversation. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Until next time, stay curious.